You have to understand that life has a way of testing us. Not with storms that we can see coming, not with the winds we anticipate, but with the slow, insidious currents of human hearts. And some hearts are heavy with anger, heavy with bitterness, heavy with the need to pull you down to the level they have chosen for themselves. There are people who will speak to you with sharp edges hidden in soft words, who will smile at you while trying to carve doubt into your bones. And in the beginning, if you are tender, if your spirit is tender, if your ears have not yet learned the music of silence, you will hear their words and you will feel the bite. But smart people, oh yes, smart people, they are not quick to strike. They are not the kind who answer insult with insult, who fire back with venom, who chase the shadow of someone else's hate. They do not dance on the stage of petty quarrels. They do not raise their voice to match the low hum of toxicity. They watch, they listen, they breathe, and they let the clock of wisdom work its magic. To outgrow someone quietly, that is an art, and it is a power. There is a strength in silence, a dignity in stepping back, a victory in walking away without the applause of the world. It is quiet because it does not demand recognition. It does not post its triumph for the eyes of others. It simply exists, and in its existence it becomes a shield, a sanctuary, a testament to the spirit that refuses to be diminished. Toxic people will try to pull you into their chaos, and they will do it with all the cunning of those who do not know peace. They will tell you stories about yourself that are not true. They will try to convince you that you are less than, that you are weak, that you are not enough. And if you argue, if you engage, you give them power. Every word you spend defending yourself is a brick in the wall that they are building around your peace. But when you stop arguing, when you step back, when you turn your eyes toward your own growth, something miraculous happens. You outgrow them, not with loud proclamation, not with public victory, but with the quiet accumulation of your own dignity, your own self-respect, your own life well lived. They notice or they do not, but it matters little, because you have already won. The world may not see it yet, but your soul has recognized it. Outgrowing someone quietly does not mean you are weak. It means you are strong in ways they cannot comprehend. It means you have learned that energy is sacred. It means you have chosen to invest in yourself rather than in the tempest of their dissatisfaction. You have chosen to cultivate gardens where before there was only dust. You have chosen to feed your mind and heart with wisdom, laughter, kindness, and patience, while they feed on drama, resentment, and envy. There is a lesson in every encounter, even the painful ones. Every toxic person, every argument, every manipulation is a mirror. Look into it. See what it teaches you. Learn what it shows you about your own strength, your own boundaries, your own worth. And then, when the lesson is learned, step away. Step away with grace. Step away with love for yourself. Outgrow them quietly. Do not allow the noise of their anger to drown the song of your soul. In the beginning, it is tempting to argue. It is human to feel the sting and want to strike back, to set the record straight, to demand justice for the wounds inflicted. But justice is not always found in argument. True justice, the kind that restores peace to your heart, is often found in quiet resolve, in the gentle decision to no longer engage, to no longer participate in the cycle of negativity. Think of water. Water does not fight the rocks that block its path. But over time, persistent, patient, it wears them down. It flows around them, it finds its own course, and eventually it shapes the land itself. So too, the smart person, the wise soul, finds a path around the toxicity, finds a course toward growth, and in doing so reshapes their own life. You will meet people who are not kind, who are not generous, who are not filled with the light that you carry. And it is not your job to change them. It is not your burden to carry their bitterness. The world is already heavy with challenges enough. You do not need to add the weight of another's cruelty to your own shoulders. Learn the art of walking away, of stepping aside, of preserving the sanctity of your spirit. And in that quiet, in that stillness, you will find freedom. Freedom from the need for approval, freedom from the need to explain yourself, freedom from the endless tug of war for recognition that never comes. When you no longer argue, you stop feeding the fire. When you no longer react, you reclaim your energy. When you outgrow them quietly, you are no longer a participant in their storm. You are a traveler on your own path, carrying only what you need, unburdened, unshaken, alive. It is not a fast process. Growth never is. Outgrowing someone quietly takes time, patience, and the courage to honor yourself above the noise of the world. You will stumble, you will falter. You will sometimes feel drawn back into the chaos by old habits or lingering emotions. And that is okay. You are learning. You are human. But every time you choose peace over argument, every time you choose self-respect over reaction, you reinforce the life you are building. You must remember that toxicity is often a reflection of pain, not of truth. The harsh words, the manipulations, the cruel laughter, they belong to them, not to you. Your value is not diminished by their inability to see it. Your worth is not tied to their approval. And the more you step away, the more you cultivate your own light, the more they shrink in comparison, not because you made them smaller, but because your own spirit grew taller. And so you rise. Quietly, patiently, inexorably you rise. You rise in confidence, in dignity, in understanding of who you are and what you deserve. You rise without fanfare, without announcement, without confrontation. You rise because you have learned the ultimate truth, that no one can take from you what is already within you. No argument, no insult, no manipulation can touch the core of your being unless you allow it. When you outgrow someone quietly, it is a victory not just over them, but over fear, over insecurity, over the patterns that once held you captive. It is a triumph of spirit, a celebration of resilience, a recognition of the sacredness of your own path. And in that quiet victory, you find something far greater than the satisfaction of a shouted argument. You find peace. Peace is the song of the smart person. Peace is the quiet laughter that rises in the heart even when the world rages outside. Peace is the freedom of walking away and knowing that you have not lost, but have gained. Peace is the gentle, persistent knowledge that your life is yours, that your energy is yours, that your dignity is yours, and no one can take it from you. And as you move forward, remember this: every toxic person you outgrow quietly, every argument you refuse to engage, every moment you choose silence over conflict, is a step toward the life you were meant to live. It is a step toward clarity, toward joy, toward a love for yourself that cannot be shaken. It is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Silence is strength, and it is a language that the world often fails to understand. Many think that to be strong is to speak loudly, to argue, to defend, to strike back when words are aimed at your soul. But real strength lives in the quiet spaces, in the pauses between words, in the gentle refusal to let the noise of someone else's bitterness penetrate your calm. There is power in stillness, a power that is soft yet unyielding, a force that moves unseen yet shifts the landscape of your life. When you choose silence over argument, you are choosing dignity over drama, peace over chaos, and clarity over confusion. You are choosing to rise above the petty, to honor the sanctity of your mind and the preciousness of your spirit. In a world that rewards reaction, choosing not to react can feel like rebellion. You will meet those who want to pull you into their storms, who want to hear your voice raised in anger, who thrive on the noise of conflict. They will speak, they will shout, they will manipulate, and if you engage, you become a part of their tempest. But silence, oh silence, has its own voice. It is the voice of confidence, the voice of self-respect, the voice that tells the world you are larger than the smallness that seeks to ensnare you. When you remain quiet, you do not become invisible. You become invincible. Your calmness becomes a shield, a barrier that cannot be pierced by insult, criticism, or envy. To understand the strength of silence, you must understand yourself. You must know the value of your energy, the sanctity of your heart, the depth of your worth. Every moment you spend arguing with someone who does not wish to understand, who only wishes to dominate or belittle, is a moment stolen from your life, a moment that could be spent building, creating, loving, or healing. Silence is the tool that allows you to reclaim those stolen moments, to preserve your power, to direct your attention where it matters most. The world will notice eventually, or it will not, and that is of no consequence. What matters is that you are whole, that you are grounded, that you are moving forward while others remain entangled in their bitterness. There is a beauty in walking away quietly, in choosing to let go without explanation, in refusing to justify your worth to someone who has already decided they cannot see it. Each step you take in silence is a statement of courage, a declaration that your life will not be dictated by another's negativity. You do not need to shout. You do not need to convince. You do not need to argue. Your presence, your calm, your continued growth speaks volumes more than any words ever could. In this quiet strength, you find freedom. You find clarity. You find the ability to shape your life with intention, to nurture your dreams, and to build a world around you that is not diminished by the shadows of others. Protect your energy. It is your most valuable resource, more precious than gold, more vital than any fleeting success, more enduring than any external approval. Life has a way of testing the boundaries of your spirit, sending waves of people, circumstances, and words that seek to drain, to diminish, to distract. And yet the smart soul, the wise heart, understands that energy is not infinite, it is sacred. Every thought you entertain, every argument you engage in, every person whose negativity you absorb, draws from the well of your inner life. If you are not careful, that well can run dry, leaving you hollow, weary, and unable to rise to the beauty and purpose that is meant for you. Protecting your energy is not selfishness. It is survival, it is preservation, it is an act of respect for yourself and for the life you are building. There will always be those who attempt to consume your energy. They will appear as critics, as complainers, as manipulators. They will reach for your time and your patience as if they have a right to it, and if you allow them, they will take more than you intended to give. And yet the strongest among us recognize that the boundary between generosity and depletion is delicate. To protect your energy, you must learn to say no without guilt, to disengage without explanation, to walk away without fear. It is not a rejection of humanity, it is an affirmation of self-worth. Your energy is a currency that buys peace, clarity, and joy, and it is up to you to invest it wisely. When you protect your energy, you cultivate a garden where life can flourish. You surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and support, rather than those who drain and diminish. You choose experiences that feed your soul rather than deplete it. And in doing so, you begin to notice a remarkable transformation. The chaos of others no longer dictates your inner rhythm. The opinions, criticisms, and attempts at control by those who thrive on toxicity bounce harmlessly off your walls of self-respect. You become a reservoir of calm in a turbulent world, a beacon of peace that draws those who respect and honor your presence. It takes courage to protect your energy, because the world will try to convince you otherwise. It will tell you that you must argue, that you must fight, that you must explain yourself. But the truth is that energy, once spent, cannot be reclaimed. The moments you allow to be poisoned by another's bitterness are moments that cannot be given back. To honor your life is to be vigilant, to guard your heart, to be selective about where and with whom you place your attention. This is not a punishment for others. It is a liberation for you. By protecting your energy, you declare that your life is not a battlefield, that your spirit is not negotiable, that your peace is not for sale. When you carry this awareness, your interactions change. You no longer feel compelled to justify, to explain, to prove yourself to those who have no interest in seeing your truth. You move with intention, with focus, with clarity. You invest your energy in creation, in love, in growth, in the work that matters most. And as you do, you discover a quiet power that is undeniable, the power to shape your life, the power to rise above chaos, the power to remain whole, serene, and unshaken in a world that often celebrates the loud and the tumultuous over the calm and the resilient. Growth is the ultimate response to toxicity, and it is a response that requires patience, courage, and unwavering commitment to yourself. There will always be people whose words are sharp, whose intentions are hidden, whose presence seeks to diminish rather than elevate. They may come disguised as friends, as colleagues, as family, or as lovers, but their essence is the same. They feed on confusion, resentment, and the energy of those around them. The smart person does not meet them with equal hostility, does not respond with arguments or retaliation, does not allow the fire of their negativity to dictate the rhythm of their life. Instead, the wise soul rises quietly, steadily, growing in ways that are profound, lasting, and unshakable. To grow in the face of toxicity is to choose self-preservation over conflict, to choose development over distraction. It is to understand that every moment spent in anger, every minute spent defending yourself, every ounce of energy spent trying to convince another of your worth is energy diverted from your growth. You must turn inward toward your own potential, toward the cultivation of your mind, your heart, your spirit. Growth becomes a silent rebellion, a statement that you refuse to be reduced by the pettiness or bitterness of others. With each day, with each choice, with each deliberate act of creation, you build a life that stands taller than their attempts to undermine you. Growth is patient and it is persistent. It does not announce itself in loud proclamations. It does not wait for validation or applause. Like a tree that stretches toward the sky, it pushes upward quietly, slowly, steadily, its roots deepening in the soil of resilience. The toxic voices may rage, may criticize, may attempt to provoke, but your growth is indifferent to noise. It is consistent. It is intentional. It is the accumulation of wisdom, the cultivation of strength, the nurturing of a life that reflects your values, your dreams, and your dignity. In growing quietly, you demonstrate a strength that cannot be undermined. The loudest argument may fade, the sharpest insult may wither, but the life you build for yourself endures. Growth becomes your voice when words fail, your shield when attacks come, your victory when confrontation is no longer necessary. It is a power that is earned, not given, a triumph that requires patience, focus, and the willingness to place yourself above the petty struggles that seek to consume you. To grow is to transform. Toxicity loses its power when met with progress, when met with learning, when met with consistent movement toward betterment. You invest in knowledge, in kindness, in understanding, in actions that reflect your highest self. Each step forward, each lesson learned, each challenge overcome is a brick in the foundation of a life that no one can shake. And in that quiet, persistent growth, you discover freedom from the need to retaliate, freedom from the weight of negativity, freedom from the illusion that your worth is determined by others. Growth is a journey, not a moment. It requires discipline, self-reflection, and a willingness to embrace your own evolution while leaving behind what no longer serves you. Every toxic interaction becomes a mirror, every challenge a lesson, every difficult person an opportunity to refine the strength within you. And as you grow, you rise above the noise, above the chaos, above the bitterness, carrying with you the quiet power of someone who has learned that the greatest response to toxicity is not conflict, but the steady, unwavering pursuit of a life that is fully, authentically, beautifully your own. Toxicity is often a reflection of pain, and it is not a reflection of your worth. There will be those who lash out, who manipulate, who belittle, who seek to control through anger, fear, or criticism. And in their actions, they reveal more about themselves than they ever do about you. The smart person understands this truth deeply. They understand that the cruelty, the impatience, the bitterness, the constant negativity of others is born from wounds, from insecurity, from a heart that has not yet learned the grace of self, love, or the courage to heal. When you recognize that their actions are a mirror of their own struggles, you are no longer vulnerable to their attempts to diminish you. You see clearly, you act wisely, and you preserve your peace while they wrestle with their own shadows. It is easy to take the words and actions of others personally, to allow their judgments to echo in your mind, to let their bitterness shape your day or your sense of self. But those who are wise, those who are strong, know that external negativity has no authority over their internal world unless permission is granted. You do not have to internalize the pain of others. You do not have to be dragged into arguments that serve only to feed their dissatisfaction. Instead, you can witness it, acknowledge it, and release it, carrying forward only what nourishes your spirit. In doing so, you reclaim your time, your energy, your dignity. Recognizing that toxicity is a reflection of another's pain allows you to respond with compassion rather than retaliation, with understanding rather than anger, with grace rather than fury. This is not to excuse cruelty, nor is it to minimize the impact of harm, but it is to understand that when someone acts from a place of brokenness, they cannot diminish the value of someone who walks in wholeness. You are not responsible for fixing them nor for absorbing their wounds. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your growth, to the preservation of your own light in a world that often seeks to cloud it. When you live with this awareness, life changes. The criticisms that once stung lose their sharpness. The attempts to provoke you fall flat. The need to defend yourself diminishes, because you understand that the attacks are not a measure of your value. They are a measure of someone else's pain. You move through the world with a quiet power, one that is impervious to manipulation, one that is grounded in self-respect, one that rises above the turbulence of others. It is a power that does not need to shout or fight to be recognized, for it is evident in the way you carry yourself, the way you choose your responses, and the way you continue to grow while others remain trapped in their bitterness. This understanding transforms your life because it changes your lens. You no longer see toxicity as a threat, but as a reflection, a lesson, an opportunity to practice patience, discernment, and self-love. Every difficult interaction becomes a chance to strengthen your boundaries, to reinforce your values, and to cultivate resilience. You begin to see the difference between what belongs to you and what belongs to another, and in this clarity you find freedom. Freedom from unnecessary conflict, freedom from emotional drain, freedom from the illusion that the pain of others can define your reality. Peace is a choice, not a consequence. And it is the most profound gift you can give yourself in a world that often celebrates chaos over calm. There will always be voices that demand your attention, situations that attempt to disturb your balance, and people who thrive on the noise of conflict. The smart person understands that peace is not something that arrives once the world around them has been tamed. Peace is cultivated within, nurtured by decisions, strengthened by boundaries, and protected by the courage to step away from what does not serve the soul. Choosing peace is not a surrender, it is a triumph, a declaration that your life and your spirit are more important than any argument, any insult, or any attempt at manipulation that comes your way. When you choose peace, you begin to see the world differently. You see the sharp edges of toxicity without being cut by them. You hear criticism without letting it corrode your self-worth. You witness negativity without allowing it to shape your mood or dictate your actions. This is a kind of wisdom that comes not from knowledge alone, but from lived experience. The quiet understanding that the way you respond to life determines the quality of your existence far more than the circumstances themselves. Peace is the lens through which you view the world and the shield that protects the sanctity of your heart. Many will misunderstand your choice of peace. They will see silence and mistake it for weakness. They will see restraint and mistake it for compliance. They will see your refusal to engage in conflict and interpret it as indifference. But in truth, peace requires more courage than conflict, more strength than argument, more resilience than retaliation. It requires knowing who you are, what you value, and what is worth your energy. It requires an understanding that the world does not need your approval for you to be whole, and that the opinions of those who dwell in bitterness are not chains that can bind you unless you allow them. Choosing peace does not mean avoiding responsibility or denying the need to confront injustice. It does not mean allowing others to walk over you or disregarding the harm that has been done. Rather, it is a conscious decision to act with discernment, to engage only in ways that are purposeful, constructive, and aligned with your integrity. Peace allows you to respond with clarity rather than reaction, with intention rather than impulse. It allows you to reclaim your energy, to protect your time, and to preserve the beauty and dignity of your own life. There is a rhythm to peace, a cadence that comes from patience and presence. It begins with small acts, pausing before responding to anger, breathing before reacting to criticism, walking away from arguments that serve no purpose but to drain your spirit. These small acts accumulate over time, building a fortress around your heart, a sanctuary for your mind and a sanctuary for your soul. And as you practice this rhythm, you begin to notice a remarkable change. The world no longer has the same power over you. You are anchored in your own calm, unshaken by storms of gossip, unbothered by attempts to provoke, and unwavering in your commitment to live a life of dignity and grace. Peace is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and courageous. It is the decision to rise above the pettiness that seeks to trap you, to resist the temptation to prove yourself to those who refuse to see your truth, and to invest your energy in what truly matters. When you choose peace, you also choose growth, because peace frees your mind to focus on learning, creating, and building the life you envision. It frees your heart to love without reservation, to forgive without bitterness, and to cultivate relationships that nourish rather than deplete. It frees your spirit to shine brightly, to pursue your purpose, and to embody the fullness of who you were meant to be. Those who have not yet learned the power of peace may not understand your choice. They may interpret your boundaries as arrogance, your calmness as superiority, and your quiet as emptiness. But peace is neither empty nor arrogant. Peace is a reflection of wisdom, of courage, of deep self-respect. It is a statement that your life is too precious to waste on conflict that has no meaning, on opinions that have no weight, on people whose negativity cannot touch the core of your being. It is a declaration that your soul is sovereign, that your energy is sacred, and that your time on this earth is meant for creation, joy and love rather than turmoil, resentment, and distraction. Every choice to embrace peace strengthens the foundation of your life. It teaches you patience in the face of provocation, restraint in moments of insult, and clarity when confusion surrounds you. It allows you to see situations as they are rather than as others try to distort them. It teaches you that you are not responsible for the moods, actions, or choices of others, and that your focus belongs to the cultivation of your own heart, mind, and spirit. Through peace, You become an island of calm in a sea of turmoil, a lighthouse for those seeking guidance, and a living testament to the strength that comes from self-mastery and inner harmony. When peace becomes a habit, it transforms the way you live and the way you love. You are no longer easily drawn into the drama of others. You do not allow the bitterness of another to taint your joy. You respond to challenges with wisdom rather than haste, and to criticism with reflection rather than anger. Your life becomes a reflection of serenity, integrity, and resilience. Peace, once chosen, becomes a force that shapes your reality, a compass that guides your decisions, and a light that illuminates the path not only for yourself but for all who witness your quiet strength. Let actions, not words, demonstrate your wisdom and resilience, for the world is quick to listen but slow to understand. There will always be those who judge by what is spoken, who measure by what is declared, who look for drama and noise as the proof of value. Yet the truly wise know that words, no matter how clever, are fleeting. They rise and fall, they echo and fade, they can be twisted and misunderstood. Actions, on the other hand, are tangible. They leave a mark, they build, they sustain. When you choose to let your deeds speak louder than your voice, you step into a power that is unassailable, a strength that cannot be shaken, and a presence that cannot be ignored. The smart soul understands that confrontation and argument may satisfy in the moment, but they rarely create lasting change. Words can wound, yes, but they can also be hollow. They can defend, but they can also mislead. They can accuse, but they rarely transform. Action, however, is the language of integrity. Action is the evidence of character. Action is the measure of what a person truly values. When you respond to life with purposeful acts rather than impulsive words, you demonstrate a depth of understanding that cannot be questioned, a patience that cannot be provoked, and a clarity of vision that cannot be shaken. Those who are loudest often crave recognition, applause, and validation, but actions require no audience. You can do what is right, what is necessary, what is transformative, without anyone knowing, without any approval, without any reward. The work you do quietly, with sincerity, with integrity, becomes a testament to your strength. Each act of kindness, each step toward self-improvement, each decision to rise above negativity, speaks volumes more than any argument, any defense, any spoken explanation. And in this you create a life of undeniable substance, a life that attracts respect not because you demand it, but because it is earned through the consistency of your deeds. It is tempting to respond to injustice, to toxicity, to criticism with immediate words. The instinct is to speak, to defend, to assert, to correct. Yet the wise pause. They understand that words once released cannot be taken back, and that often, the more one argues, the more one becomes entangled in the chaos of someone else's choosing. By allowing actions to lead, by choosing to demonstrate rather than debate, you reclaim control over your own life. You are no longer at the mercy of provocation, of manipulation, of misunderstanding. You rise above, guided by purpose, grounded in self-respect, and aligned with the truth of your own heart. Actions have a ripple effect that words cannot imitate. A kind gesture, a patient response, a deliberate choice to prioritize growth and integrity radiates outward in ways that transcend the immediate moment. People notice, even if silently, even if slowly, and those who attempt to diminish you will find that your life, your deeds, your consistent demonstration of character cannot be overshadowed by anger, criticism, or envy. Actions speak to the heart of others in ways that words cannot, planting seeds of understanding, respect, and admiration. In time, the cumulative power of what you do will far outweigh any argument you could have made. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from living by action. When you measure yourself by the work you produce, the love you give, the integrity you uphold, you are free from the tyranny of opinion, the need for approval, and the exhaustion of defensiveness. You no longer waste energy trying to convince those who refuse to understand. You focus instead on building, on creating, on nurturing, on living. And in that focus, your spirit grows resilient, your mind sharpens, and your heart becomes a sanctuary. Those who once sought to provoke or belittle find that their influence diminishes, not because you fought to remove it, but because you no longer feed it with argument or reaction. When actions are your voice, every moment becomes an opportunity to demonstrate strength, courage, and wisdom. Each decision to act with integrity is a lesson to yourself and to the world. Each choice to step forward despite fear, to rise above insult, to honor your commitments, speaks more eloquently than any speech ever could. You show that resilience is not the absence of hardship, but the consistent pursuit of purpose, the daily commitment to rise, to contribute, to create, to grow, in spite of challenges and distractions. Actions also teach patience, for results are often slow to appear. The seeds you plant may not bloom immediately. The effort you invest may not yield immediate recognition. But the wise understand that the worth of action is not measured by applause or acknowledgement, but by its alignment with truth, integrity, and purpose. Over time, the cumulative effect of these actions shapes character, reputation, and life. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the momentary into the lasting, and the reactive into the intentional. To live by action is to embody resilience. Resilience is not a performance, not a declaration, not a boast. It is a quiet, steadfast commitment to continue, to endure, to create, to rise. Every choice to act rather than argue, to demonstrate rather than explain, to build rather than deplete, strengthens the foundation of your life. It is a shield against chaos, a beacon for those who seek inspiration, and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. In the face of toxicity, criticism, or opposition, actions become your unspoken answer. They carry the weight of truth, the evidence of wisdom, and the undeniable force of integrity. Words may be forgotten, misinterpreted, or twisted, but the life you live, the choices you make, the deeds you perform are immortalized in the people you touch, the growth you achieve, and the world you influence. Actions speak in a language that is universal, unassailable, and lasting. When your life is guided by action, not words, you no longer fear being misunderstood. You no longer seek to control perceptions, to explain yourself endlessly, or to justify your worth to those who refuse to see it. Your life itself becomes the message, your consistency the proof, and your character the testament. And in this way, the smart, resilient soul does not need to argue, does not need to defend, does not need to shout. They act quietly, purposefully, powerfully, and in that action, they show the world what true strength, wisdom, and resilience really look like.